Welcome back to another edition of the Breaking the Chains. This is a platform that is meant to dismantle the myth, expose the mechanisms of the system, and of course, reclaim the dignity of Black history, to decolonize the minds and break the system of mental slavery. Tonight, I'm honored to sit with one of the most profound and great young person of this generation, Ensa JATTA. If you have not heard him before, that he has been someone who has been on the scene to change and break the system. It's a pleasure to be with you, Mr. JATTA.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jaha. The greatest pleasure is mine. I am so glad to be here with you today. And having a great personality like you, it's an honor for me to have this beautiful discussion with you on breaking the chains.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Look like this, we're going to first talk about his history and all the challenges I've gone through, and of course the lessons he have learned through all the journey. And there we will talk about his brilliant book called The Dream of Becoming, and then he will tell us what inspires him to write this book, and of course what is his objective in writing the book. And finally, we'll deal with the system, because this is a platform to break the chains of the system, and we cannot do without talking about the system. And of course, he's a man. If you look at the book and read the book, you'll find out he's dealing greatly of the system, and I know he is also contributing to breaking the system as well.
Very well, very well.
And we will indeed discuss about the system. But first and foremost, who is Ensa JATTA?
Thank you so much, Mr. Jaha. I want to start with saying Ensa is a young Gambian who is a great dreamer, and then believes in himself and also believes in the potentials of other many young people. Born and brought up in Serekunda to parents that are from Nyomi, and my dad is from Nyomi Tubakolong, and my mom also is from Nyomi Jurungun. Now, both of them, to tell you where I come from, meaning I will take pride in telling you who these two individuals are. My mom, is a daughter to an imam. The father is an imam, which is an Islamic leader, a very prestigious position in every cultural settings. You can understand from these two individuals came Ensa.
We can significantly say you're sitting with an imam.
Right, you are sitting with an imam, but the reason why I brought this is to make the audience understand that I am from a very humble background. And then my background, what it taught me is to be very kind, to be very religiously conscious, also to understand what is right and what is wrong. So in short, what I want to say is Ensa is it's born of Nyomiga parents, and then maybe Jarankas watching this might be like, oh, he should have been from Jara. But unfortunately I am from Nyomi, and also born and brought up in the Gambia. Did all my schooling in Ibo town. That's where I was born, and I have been through to various schools because due to how I was brought up, by my foster dad, I had to travel with him to various schools because he was an headmaster. So traveling to different schools postings, I will go with him. So I have been to Fonyin Demban, where I started my basic school. From Fonyin Demban to Brikama Kabafeta to Kloro, and from Kloro finally back to New Joshua Primary School called Kandeba School, where I reunited with my dad and also my family, finding my way through Latikunda Upper Basic School before finally moving to the Gambia Muslim Senior Secondary School. So in short, this is about me, and this is who I am. And then based on my parents and how they are trained, and the religious perspective they had in them, I had to learn to be grateful in many ways. I had to learn to be humble in many ways, but most importantly too, I had to learn to liberate my mind from many things as well, because I have seen a lot, I have learned a lot, and myself I have been through a lot.
Yeah, because you've just said that it was not easy with you mobiling with your foster father from one school to another, because he was a head master. So during that time, you must have during the school system, because part of our philosophy is the school system is not as it's supposed to be for the building and development of the potentials we should embrace, so that we can go out and contribute meaningfully to the development of this country and to liberate this country completely from the colonial or neo-colonialism that is still holding it back from moving forward. So, and we believe that education is one of the key pillars that can liberate us from that condition, but still we are under the same colonial education system. So you've been through the school, through the school system. What can you tell us about your journey from the primary to Muslim high school and to your higher or tertiary education?
Yes, Sarif, that's a very important question. Not only have I been a student to the same system of education, but also I am a teacher of the same system of education, because I have taught for almost more than a decade. And then the system that I had to pass through is the same system that I had to teach other kids to pass through. So you will understand that I am very familiarized with the system of education in this country. And to me, to start with, most of the thing I find very challenging is our educational system is not the one that people need to look up to. And how is it that we don't have to look up to it? The reason why we cannot look up to our educational system is simply because the system is designed in a way where it does not make you to become a great thinker. It it suppresses the way you think, and it makes you follow the same basic system, that is the same designation, the same design. And this design is come, learn, go home, do whatever you have to do, come back again, test, you are assessed, you pass your exam, you move on. You don't pass your exam, you move on. Okay, so the system is designed in a way that it does not help you to free yourself from that particular chains. The trap.
It's like it's more of a cycle.
It's more of a cycle.
From primary 1 to
grade 12. The same thing. And then this does not instill the spirit of patriotism in the citizens. I will reference that. I will give an example with that. Now, go to most of these schools. The most important thing you will find in most often in the schools is before going to classes, you will have assemblies. Now, after the discussions of those assemblies, even those assembly grounds to begin with should have been a way to inspire the spirit of nationalism in these kids. It should have been a way to make these kids realize that education is not within the four corners of the classroom, but even here, where we are, the assembly ground, is a place for us to learn. But away from that, now get to a point where they are asked to sing the national anthem. Now you will understand that the system of education in this country is rotten, because even the way these kids will sing the national anthem, they sing it without passion. They sing it without any zeal, and they sing it without any feelings in them. They sing it just for the sake of singing it, because that's what the system trains them to be. And this is why you will have them complete grade 12, go to college, go to university, do all that they have to do. And at the end of the day, they know they don't even value
this country.
The country, because the system, educational system, has not put them through the right ways of valuing this nation. And if you want to emancipate a country, you have to first liberate the educational system, because it is the educational system that will give you citizens that will think of liberating a nation. But if the chains are on the minds of those citizens and they are still colonized with the same structure of educational system, come to class, draw the lizard, label the parts of the lizard, talk about the mosquitoes, talk about their eyes and how do they see it, and then talk about, it's crazy, sorry.
It's kind of stupidly funny, yeah?
It's crazy. This sounds very funny, but this is what our educational system presents to us.
And that's
what we all went through. So myself, what helps me a lot is becoming a teacher and then finding joy in teaching literature. Now, in my discussion of literature, most oftenly, I use this opportunity to liberate the minds of my students. I tell my students, and then, it has got to a state where I was described as sort of being a radical teacher because of the philosophies that I instill in my kids. And then the first thing that I make them to see, most of them will be watching this, is the system of education that they have in the country, and then how it makes them blind. And through literature, I present to them the works of these great thinkers whom I want them to become like them. But in becoming like those individuals, I always remind them that first and foremost, you have to liberate your mind. Because if you read the work of these great individuals, if you read the works of, let's say, Shakespeare, you read the works of Henry Peters, you read the work of Jogafado Jabang, you read the works of, Tijan Sala, you read the works of, Gabriel Okara, the piano and the drum. You read the works of, how do you call it again? Niyo Osandere, okay? The Leader and the Lead. You read most of those works, and then you realize these Africans and non-Africans alike, their point always is to emphasize, one, at some point, the beauty of culture, another point, to liberate the minds of the people. So if you want to become like those individuals, they had been in the classrooms, they had to learn, but at some point, the only difference between them and their generation is they want to free their minds. They free their minds. They don't want to think like the way the rest think. If you want to be different with other individuals, you have to take your own path.
Sure.
And in taking your own path, it means you have to think differently from the way I think.
Sure.
So if you think differently from the way I think, it means you are craving your own path. There you become different. So unless our educational system follow a pattern where people will become more of rational thinkers, they will think of how to free this nation from the depths of the IMF, okay? How they will free this nation from the interference of other external foreign forces, okay? Like, United States telling you how you need to live in your country or how you need to run your country.
I'm not sovereign to determine that.
Yeah. So unless the system of education is created in a way that it is going to make those citizens to value what they have, this country will never prosper.
Now, looking at it like in your own journey, what will you point at and say, this has been my most disappointing time or the disappointing part in my journey through the education system, just as a student?
Yes, I had a lot. One thing I found most humiliating is, as a student, I think at some point, we all had some stories that we want to share and others that we don't want to share. And then, as a student, while I was going to school, I was considered to be a radical student. Since back then, most of my teachers will say I am radical. And then, and this always result to me being, unfairly treated. You know, when I say unfairly treated is because even as a student going to school, I dare to, you know, reason differently from my schoolmates, from my classmates. When they always see things in light A, I always want to see it in light B. So our zones, our ways of seeing things always is different. And you know, most of the teachers mostly are not happy with that because they mostly found this to be, you know, either challenging to their authorities or either a insubordination to their authorities. And you know, this always I find it difficult to accept. And I think that is one of the things that I always find very difficult through my transition as a student, because I had few teachers that were willing to listen to me. And if most of them had given me the opportunity to know why I want to think differently, I think it would have resulted me being guided very righteously.
Very true.
So what that taught me is that if you are in the position of authority, especially where you are serving as a teacher, you always have to reason with students that don't see things in the same light with you. Because one, you can either serve as a motivation for them, or you can serve as the one that will completely destroy their dreams. Now, this has not stopped me. You know, it would have stopped most of the young people like me to become great dreamers, you know, great believers, and also great achievers. You know, but somebody like me who has been, you know, fortified, my mind had been fortified, and then, you know, it's been sanctified in a way that I don't see the reasons why the acceptance of an individual who is tasked with the responsibility of guiding me and failure in guiding me would result me being retired. You know, I thought to myself, no, if you believe me, I'm going with you. If you don't believe me, I will still get there, and then you will see me walking there, and you will come there, and I will still honor you to say, you have arrived here. Now I believe and I hope that you have finally believed in me. Okay? So these lessons have taught me as a teacher, from transitioning as a student to a teacher, to accept people with diverse views. It has taught me to become a very, you know, a respectful teacher to my students. Respectful in the sense that I had the opportunity of teaching more than 10,000 Gambians from the time I started to now. Almost more than 10,000 Gambians had passed through me. And all those 10,000 Gambians or more than them, you know, always my interaction with them is, we can have diverse opinions, but as your mentor, as your tutor, as your teacher, my primary responsibility is to guide you.
Thank you very much. That is Ensa Jesus JATTA. And if you look at his, listen to and decode what he's telling you that we're living in a system that is trying to keep everybody silent who is to be different. The system is teaching us that nobody should be different. All of us should think alike, look alike, and behave alike. That we might be under the control of the puppeteers of the system. The minute you start to be different, the system will want to break you down.
Absolutely.
And if you allow that to happen, that's the end of you. We'll be back after this break. Breaking the Chains is a channel that is going to create the platform for which the system will be exposed and the black history will be taught. Welcome back to Breaking the Chains. With me is Ensa Jesus JATTA, the author of Dream of Becoming. Ensa?
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jaha.
Next, before we move to the book, why you write the book, and then the very objective you wrote the book, you've been to college now. you're studying law, before you transit from the senior school to the college, there are requirements. There are always, we say, it doesn't make sense to me to realize that there is always a requirement of transition from grade 12 to college or from grade 12 to the university. But there is no requirement of transition from one grade to another. That sounds to me a kind of hypocrisy, like you are taking everybody to the peak of the mountain and then take only very few and get them past. The rest, you leave them at the valley to decide for them their own fate. Which to me, you should make sure the one that was a grade 1, we're telling you where you are headed to is difficult. So therefore, you cannot move to the next grade if you don't make this grade. So this child now will be programmed to understand that I will not move any age until I have met the requirement. But the system didn't do that. The system will take us all back up to the mountain and now tell us those who get the requirement, let's move on. Those who do not get the requirement, stay there. Decide for your destiny. If you want the job.
Very good. Yeah, that's a very good analog. And then I want you to understand it this way. Now, you've mentioned a very important point here. That is, why do we need a requirement, to get to the college and to the university when we have, when we should have put that mechanism in ensuring that the system of education that is given from the foundational level is the one that is going to be intact. Now, you need to understand something. The system is designed in a way that it wants to keep the job of the, those at the top. The elites, their job at the top. It wants to create a way of maintaining the same system, so that only few their kids and their relatives, are going to be the ones that are going to transcend through those systems, because that is the mechanism. That is why they have those mechanisms. Now, these mechanisms are put in a way that it is going to trim you out. If you also succeed in passing through the system, now the tuition fee is going to be another obstacle
for you.
Because it is made in a way that it's very expensive. That the son of the poor farmer out there, the son of the vendor out there, or the daughter of the breakfast seller in the Johnson, will not afford to be able to pay that. And then the scholarship also that is going to be granted is granted to the friends of those elites. Sometimes it is not based on only few.
Your capability.
Only few. Those that are very capable, only few. So, and those few also, you have to be 20 times more good than their kids and whatsoever in order for you to share the same opportunity with them. But the jobs are already designed in a way that you are trained and you are, positioned in a way that you are only going to remain in the classroom. Because the position of the permanent secretary is not for the son of the poor farmer who is in the classroom. So you only have to be there, teach these other kids to share the same vision and similar views with you, while their kids and others, are trained to become those that are going to take those jobs after them.
Just to prove you right, so that is, if you look at the kind of education system, we have two schools. Yeah, we call the public schools. That is where the poor farmers' children will be, with mass population, very few teachers who will be struggling to teach all of these students. And you go to a private school where you have very few students whose parents are rich and are able to pay that exorbitant fee. Now, if you attach a fee at a private school, you're excluding the farmer. So therefore, you need public school for the farmers. That's why they call it public school. It's for the poor people. And then the private school is for the rich people. So that is to tell us now, I'm just to support what you are saying, that the system is built in a way that when you are not rich, or you don't come from a rich person, or a rich person has not supported your cause, you find it very
absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I think that is the center of the discussion here, and that is how the system is designed. The system is designed to keep you an eye away from those colleges and the universities, and this is why you will have those entry requirements. If you do not have those entry requirements, it means, I'm sorry, come again next year. You find much. Every year, the Gambia Senior Secondary School is graduating above 10,000 students, and the university and the college needs only 5,000.
Yeah, and now
less than 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you do with the remaining 12,000 or with the remaining 7,000 around?
And usually, results when they come out only less than 5%.
Only 5%.
We have requirements.
So, what do you do? What system? What mechanism are you putting in place to make sure that those that do not have those requirements, what is available for them? And this is why today Sarif, is disheartening, but this is the truth, because the system has not put anything in place for them. This is why today you will see most of them preferring to die in the Mediterranean Sea than to remain here, because the system has neglected them. The system is designed in a way that it has frustrated their dreams. The system is designed in a way that it has kept them from enjoying what should have been. Not even, it's their basic right
to enjoy.
Because right to life is sacrosanct. Right to life is sacrosanct, and you cannot live life without enjoying life.
Sure.
So there are things that should have been made available for them.
And part of it is to be productive and do something productive and to those people around
very well
your country.
So if they are not provided with those opportunities,
they'll leave.
Then they have no opportunity than to go outside there and look for greener pastures, other places, even if it means to die in the scene. Okay? Because the system forgot about them. The system, it's only focused with those that have the requirement to be in the university. Now those ones are in the universities and in the college. Now they are only centered on those individuals. These are the people that are already here. Let's train their mind. Let's seize their mind so that we have their minds in a way, because the curriculum is designed by individuals. Now those that design those curriculum, it means they are designing how you are going to think. Okay? Because that's what you have the curriculum for. You are designing how I am going to think. You want my thoughts to be in alignment with the things that you do. So if I choose to be different from thinking how you are doing things, and I want to see things in a different way, you say, no, he's an outcast of the system.
You've been rejected. And they tell you, if you don't want to be an outcast, you have to conform.
Yeah, you have to conform to the system.
You don't conform, they say he's a radical, he's a rebel, he's a terrorist, he's that. But anyway, this is breaking the chains. That is the essence of this show. That is to destroy the very chains that the system has, used to shackle our progress, our minds, and of course, our dreams. But that we are not going to allow. And of course, that is why the essence of the book, the dream of becoming.
Right.
Because we are all dreaming of becoming. But along the way, our dreams shatter. Along the way, our dreams are constrained. Along the way, we fall without attaining our dreams. And of course, that's why I love the book written by our able author, Ensa JATTA. Why do you write?
Yes, of becoming. Yes, thank you so much. This is also another very important question. Now, the dream of becoming, it's more of, I can say it's an addition to the work that you are already doing. That is the good work that you are doing, breaking the chains. Now, I can take this book and put it in the context of breaking the chain. And it will fit. And it's going to fit perfectly well. I'm going to take this book and put it in the educational system, the way it is designed, and it is going to fit perfectly well. I will take this book and put it in the environmental crisis, the global warming, the climate, climate change activities, and then the role of individuals in ensuring that the environment is safe for all individuals, and it's going to fit perfectly well in it. Okay, and I'm going to take this book also and give it to the boys that are sitting on the straßes, dungeons, the ghettos, okay, where myself I draw most of my inspiration from, okay, and put it in that system also, how we are seen on those streets, and it's going to fit perfectly well as well, okay. So the dream of becoming, it's born out of the ideas of my passion for literature. It has to do more with that to start with. I was then writing for fun. I was not taking it very seriously, because then I didn't even knew that having a collection of poems all together can give you, a book, right? I didn't have that idea. I was like, okay, somebody will have a presentation in school. They will come to me back in those days, and they will tell me, yeah, we are supposed to have every day, we are supposed to have debate and drama competition, and I want you to write a poem for me. And when they say, I want you to write a poem for me, I will tell them, okay, when do you need the poem? They will say, tomorrow. I will say, okay, I will write it tonight. And I will just sit down, draft it quickly, and then give it to them, and I'll ask them, because when I read my own works, it doesn't sound very good to me. And when I give it to individuals and I'm like, okay, read it for me, let me list it. When they read it and they are like, wow, this is beautiful. I say, really, this is beautiful? They say, yeah, it's beautiful. I say, okay, go with it. So in those days, I was not very much serious with it. Until I met a teacher, Mr. Fane. I give credit to him for this particular book.
Is it Dr. Fane?
Dr. Fane of the University of the Gambia.
Prophet, that is Prof. Fane.
Yeah, and I will be very grateful to meet him in person again, because I have acknowledged his efforts in this book.
Okay.
And it's rather unfortunate that I have not met him in person to tell him that his inspiration is what leads to this particular work. How this whole dream came about is Baba Silla came, Baba Silla, the author of Dabalejin and When the Monkey Talks. And then, he was invited as the guest speaker in one of the Gambian Literature Day celebration at the Gambia College Hall. And then I was sitting down there looking at a man who is being unfairly treated to me by nature. Despite he is blind, despite he is not, he is visually impaired, he is not seeing, but he has authored great books. And then these books are so wonderful that, anytime you read them, you want to come back again and read them again. And then I had already read about 2 of his books, When the Monkey Talks and Dabalejin. Now I am faced with the man who has wrote those 2 great books that I have read. And then in front of me is this same man who is not seeing what is going on around him, but he has managed to author those 2 great books. And I draw my inspiration. I say, well, this guy is great. And then I wrote a poem where I was seated. And on the high table, it was Baba Silla and Mr. Fane, who was then teaching me literature. And then, a friend of mine told me, boy, this is very good. Go out and present it. And I was like, no, this is not for presentation. I wrote this just for fun. And he was like, no, you have to go and present it. And then when we get to the question and answer session, the boy forced me to went out, to go out rather and then do the presentation. And I told them that, I just wrote something right now and I don't even know whether it makes sense. But this is something that I want to dedicate to the works, to Baba Silla and to art, to the work that he has done. And they say, well, fine, you can go on. And then I read the piece and all of them were like, wow. You mean you wrote this before coming over here, or you just wrote this right now? I said, no, I wrote this just 5 minutes ago here. They were like, man, this is great. And Malam Fane had to walk off the stage to come to me and tell me, what are you doing with these things that you are writing? I said, no, sir, this is just for fun. I'm not doing this for any purpose. I'm just writing for the sake of writing. He said, young man, from today onwards, make sure any of these pieces that you write, you keep them together. That's how the dream of becoming
Okay. It's a compilation of all the poems.
Yeah, it's a compilation of all the poems that I have been writing.
Okay.
And then, you know, some of them, you know, my relationship with individual, some of them, you know, during my moments of sitting back, relaxing, enjoying the community, how the community do its things. I draw inspirations from it and then write something about it. Some of them from the ghettos, while being in the ghettos, you know, I see what the judgments the ghetto youths had to face, and some of them, you know, their reasons, their reasonings, you know, compared to the reasoning of the university students, you will understand that it is unmatched. They are far more intelligent, far more superior in thinking than most of the university going students. And when I look at those individuals and how they are deprived.
Not cutting you short, it could be that those are people who are in school but not finding themselves in the curriculum.
In the curriculum, and they had to leave.
They had to leave.
They had to leave because they were not absorbed. You know, within the curriculum, so they had to leave. You know,
and those are the ones they call criminals. And
criminals, very well, very well. And you know, when I am in the midst of them, and then I looked at them, and then I'm like, dude, come on, you are super intelligent. Sometimes I had interacted with elites that do not reason the way you are reasoning to me. And then from those moments, you know, I also encountered my inspiration from those individuals as well. And it's obvious too, being, you know, a learner myself, going through the system of education, and I had to make friends too in the educational system, where I also draw my inspiration. So my inspiration is from various angles.
That was Ensa JATTA, the author of The Dream of Becoming. That was part 1. I'm telling you, part 2 is the most interesting part of the interview. And indeed, in that part, JATTA deals with the system and deals with how the system is manipulative and how the system is being designed to put you and I down, that we will never rise up to be able to challenge the system and remove that which is keeping us down. I'm telling you,